Today we're going to be talking about Robinhood stock, or Hood, Hood. And you can see behind me I put the green light for the Hood stock topic. I just felt like the green kind of vibed with their company's colors, okay? So Hood is actually my biggest percentage of my portfolio. It was NVIDIA. I bought a lot of Hood and it ran up quite a bit in the past 2-3 months, and I am super excited about Hood. And honestly, I would keep adding here if I had extra money to add. I'm going to be talking about why I think Hood is one of the best fintech plays right now to invest in, even after the huge run up that we've seen. Okay. Now, here on YouTube, SoFi has a huge community of investors and viewers. Everyone wants to search up SoFi. Hood stock, not so much. So the reason being is because I think SoFi is pretty undervalued and doesn't really move, but has a lot of upside potential. Now, Hood had a lot of upside potential 2 years ago, and we've seen that 10x from 2 years ago. We've seen a 10x from 2 years ago here, November 2023. It was at $8, and now we are sitting at $74. All-time high being around there, right? So this stock has moved a ton, and although it has moved a ton, I still think it has so much more potential to go. And in the past year, because of Trump tariff dip, we got all the way down to $30 a share. And so back then, that's actually where I entered in. I got pretty excited about Robinhood around $30 a share and decided to start investing. I didn't quite get the bottom. I got like $40 and then just started buying all the way up till now. Now, let's think about Robinhood first. Okay, what is Robinhood? It is a trading platform. To put it simply, it is a very beautifully created trading platform. Super popular on the App Store, but also you can use it on your website. So it's basically like a brokerage. Like Fidelity is what I use, but I have used Robinhood. And so you can trade, you can invest, but it is honestly so much more than that, and we're going to get into that. But baseline minimum, at the bare minimum, it is an investing trading platform. Okay. Now, what sets Robinhood apart? Number one thing is it's designed beautifully. Now, a lot of people might think that's not a moat, but it actually is, especially with the younger generation, like the Gen Zers with TikTok brains, and they need to watch Subway Surfers. They love beautifully designed elements. They're not going to want to use a dinosaur like Fidelity. Another thing about Robinhood that makes it so unique is that it acts more like a tech company rather than just a brokerage, right? So they are constantly innovating the financial industry, the trading industry, and the investing industry. And they're adding so many things to their platform that makes it hard to ignore. And they're really innovating those things. They're getting into banking, which adds a ton of new customers. They're getting into credit cards. They have a gold credit card that reinvests like 3%. Like you get 3% cash back that you can reinvest into the Robinhood app. So it's just constant money getting put into Robinhood. They also recently rolled out sports contracts, which you can say what you want about, contracts and gambling and whatnot. There is a huge market for it. And so the fact that they're able to capitalize not only on trading and investing, but the other side of the degen community, which is sports gambling, basically, is an incredible source of revenue for them. Another thing that they potentially might be rolling out is tokenized stocks. And tokenized stocks would allow people to basically trade stocks 24/7, tokenized versions, which makes buying and selling probably easier with less fees. And so they're going to have a event coming up here on June 30th. And we've already seen demand for this from Coinbase. All of those things combined create a super unique and innovative financial platform that is constantly finding ways to give their users a better experience. And in my opinion, I can see Robinhood being a Mag 7 level technology company in the next 5 to 10 years. We have Amazon, which is the king of e-commerce. Why can't Robinhood be the king of finance in 5 to 10 years, right? And we see this with the generations that are coming after me. I'm a Gen Z, barely. Actually, I'm like the very beginning of the Gen Z generation. I see my age using Robinhood more than any other platform. I barely see people my age using Fidelity or any other brokerage. It's usually Robinhood. It's just the easiest to get onto. They make it look beautiful. And it's the most talked about amongst people my age. So those are all amazing things, in my opinion, that make the product incredible. Now let's look real quick at the financials, right? I don't want to get too deep into the financials because, like I've always said, I like the numbers, but I'm not a huge numbers nerd. I don't necessarily go into the numbers as much. What I like to look at is, the overall revenue, and then also how much they're growing percentage-wise year over year. Now, I would definitely recommend not just following me blindly into investing into Robinhood, but definitely doing your own research on the numbers. And I can put the link in the bio below to check out their last quarter earnings report. But basically, you can see here, first quarter 2025, total net revenues increased 50% year over year to almost $1 billion in one quarter, right? And you can just go through these numbers. 50% year over year. Transaction-based revenues increased 77% year over year. One of these other ones that I really liked is net deposits, $18 billion. People are actively putting their money into Robinhood. This one's awesome. Robinhood Gold subscribers basically increased 90% year over year. So their Robinhood Gold is moving fast. Just looking at these, like if you just go through it, even if you don't understand all these numbers as like a beginner investor, copy and paste it into ChatGPT and ask it to give you an analysis on it that you can understand. It's impressive. It is impressive growth. And I really think that if they keep executing at this level, obviously we've been in a bull market, so it's fair to see that these numbers are high. But if they keep executing at this level, then I think that they'll easily become one of the biggest financial tech platforms in the country, in the world almost, right? Something that just came out today that I am really excited about is they had an insider named Christopher Payne. He's on the board. He just bought 26,000 shares at the current price of $74. That's about $2 million total. Why would somebody buy 26,000 shares at a basically all-time high if they didn't believe in the product, if they didn't believe in the share price? Okay. Now, should you do the same? I don't know. It depends on how long your time horizon is. One of the bear cases for Robinhood is that it could be cyclical, which basically means that it follows what the stock market is doing. So since we've been in a bull market somewhat for the past year or two, obviously it's ran up from $7 to $70. Now, let's say we enter a recession. Does that mean Robinhood goes back to 30 or even 20 or $7 a share? I'm not sure. I honestly think that buying here at this level is not a terrible idea. The last 2 weeks or whatnot, we saw a run up because investors thought that we were going to get into the S&P 500. So we saw a huge run up the past 2 weeks because investors thought that Robinhood was going to get into the S&P 500. They were doing a rebalancing, or they were going to report if they were going to do a rebalancing. And so it went from like $60 to almost $80 a share. I think it capped off at like 76 or something around there. And then we didn't get into the S&P 500. And Hood is back to those all-time highs. And so we still have the possibility of getting into the S&P 500 from here on, and we are at $75. It seems like, we can go much higher. So would I invest at this level? I personally would, if I had more cash to put towards this, because we don't know when the next drop will be. I'm more of the opinion of DCAing, where, if the stock drops, you buy more, but you don't necessarily try to time the market. You just buy when you have cash to deploy and then hold. And in 5 to 10 years, that return will be much higher. So it won't really matter when you get in. I've said this in previous videos. I like to look at the potential of a company. If you're looking at the potential of Robinhood being one of the top, even Mag 7 tech companies, but in the finance space, kind of like Amazon is a tech company in the e-commerce space, then we're looking at Robinhood being worth a few $100 per share. And right now, even missing the 10x from $7, but getting in right now at $7.75, really, I don't think really matters, because we could be looking at twice as much next year, and then 5 to 10 years, it could be another 10x from here. You never know. It's hard to time those things. I just know that, the younger generations are going to be adopting this at faster rates. And unless we get something even better than Robinhood come out in the next 10 years, I really think Robinhood is going to take most of the market share for investors. We even see older boomer investors moving their money to Robinhood, because Robinhood promises, I think like 4% or something if you move all your money to their platform. And obviously it's locked up, but it is a good deal if you're an old investor with a lot of money. Robinhood has both stocks and crypto. They make a ton of money from their crypto, and honestly, I use Coinbase. I hate how many fees I get charged, and I always consider switching to Robinhood. And so they've really capitalized both the crypto and the stock market, and it's incredible. One last thing that I'll say is the CEO, Vlad, is very focused on his mission right now. And Vlad seems to be very focused on innovating and also like being very friendly to retail investors, which is really nice. It's really nice to have communication from your CEO. I'm not comparing SoFi at all, but investors aren't rewarding SoFi with that same level of premium, even though SoFi is executing just fine. Because in my opinion, Anthony Noto says SoFi is a one-stop shop. In my opinion, Robinhood is more of a one-stop shop, because you'll be able to do banking, credit card, long-term investing, Trump accounts that are rolling out, investment accounts, 401ks in the future, sports betting. There's so many aspects to Robinhood that we're just in the beginning. It could go so far from here. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I know this is kind of all over the place, but I kind of like to just talk about why I'm bullish on certain things. If you like the video, please subscribe, and yeah.